Hi everyone. I'm glad that all of you could join us today for our first meeting of Spring 2021. This is the first general meeting which we are having, and I'll just walk you through what we are going to talk about in this meeting. First of all, before getting ahead with the topics, first of all, we're going to share the whole plan for Spring 2021. What are we going to do, and how the whole semester is going to look through from our eyes. We're going to talk about our vision and mission for the students who have just joined the university recently and do not know much about AI Skunkworks. So we're just going to give a overview of what work we do. You will get to meet our team. You'll get to meet some new members who've joined our team, and all the members who've been working very hard to make all this possible. Then we'll be talking about the two main pillars of AI Skunkworks, that is our research and the projects that we do. We're going to walk you through whatever we are doing in that aspect for the club. Uh, a lot of other things that we do, workshops, speaker series, events, and stuff that happens throughout the whole semester is also addition to this. I hope that it answers a lot of your questions, but if not, we are having 10 minutes at the end for a Q&A. So feel free to ask us any question you want, that you have, even in the chat box in between. If you want to, we'd be happy to respond there, but we are having 10 minutes for the Q&A. So yeah, let's get started. So we'll start with the vision and the mission of AI Skunkworks. So AI Skunkworks is a platform where we want to give the students at Northeastern University a platform where they can work, research on new topics in the industry. So the vision of the club is to research in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning domain. We've been working on these new topics that are coming in the industry. We are having research groups. We are working on projects, different kinds of projects here and there, and kind of trying to involve as many students as possible and share this knowledge with everyone. So, our mission is just to promote this idea of research that was brought up by Professor Nick Brown, who's also our advisor. He's there on the call, and he'll join us in a few more minutes, talking about what research is and what groups that he'll be heading for this semester. So the idea that was brought up was just to promote research aspect of artificial intelligence and in the data science world, to give students that aspect of knowledge and curiosity in that domain. So it provides mentorship. We have workshop sessions. You can interact with industry professionals from the industry, and there are a lot of things that are going on which kind of give you a gist, I'd say, of how this research world goes. So it can help you if you're excited to do a PhD in future. If not, still I think it's really good to have that idea if you're going into this field of AI and machine learning. Moving ahead, uh, introducing all of you to our team. So we have Professor Nick Brown, who is our club's advisor. Sorry, I think I did not mention, but my name is Abhishek Dabas, and I'm the president of AI Skunkworks Club. We have Abhishek Maheshwarappa. You can see him on the, I think, on the side.
Yeah, hi guys. Abhishek.
So,
So I'm a vice president of research operations at AI Skunkworks. I'm a fall 2019 student, currently doing my co-op as a data scientist. Yeah, that's about me. Abhishek, on to you.
yep. And then we have Shruti Patil. Shruti, do you want to say hi to everyone? Do we have a?
We have her,
Sorry.
she's on mute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Sorry for that. My name is Shruti Patil and I'm VP of Research Technology. So if you have any issues with the compute resources or any technologies we provide, just reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. Then we have Jugal with us, and Jugal is the vice president of research of web development. I'm sorry, and we have Shivi, we have Indupriya with us, who are joining us for this semester. Do you guys want to say hi to everyone?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Shivi. I joined Northeastern in spring 2020, and I'll be the VP for student engagement. Yeah, thank you.
Hi
Thanks,
everyone.
Shivi.
Sorry. Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Indu, and I just onboarded AI Skunkworks as VP of Research and Development. So I'll be handling all the connection establishments across the students and also the companies and other research institutes. So you can reach out to me if you have any projects on your mind, and we can work through it. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Indupriya. We are this is our team. If you have any questions throughout the semester regarding any of the work that they're doing or just general questions, feel free to ping me. Feel free to ping anyone from our team. So yeah, moving ahead, I'd also like to share another good news with all of you. We have reached the mark of 540 members for our club. We are and we are the largest graduate student club to reach these many members. So it's a great work by all the people who've been part of this club previously, who are part of it right now, and honestly, we're working really hard to just get things going. So I just say be a part, and join us, and let's share our knowledge. Going ahead, so question that some of you might be asking while looking at this club, because of course there are lot of students club out there in the university. So there are a few things that makes AI Skunkworks unique compared to all the other clubs. So uh, people getting into AI and machine learning, so there are a lot of new technologies, there are a lot of new things coming up in the market. So AI Skunkworks provides you with that platform where you get to be involved in those technologies, you get to learn about them, you get to work on them, you get to connect with people who are already working on that, and kind of share that knowledge with like-minded people. So as you saw the strength, 540 people. So all these people are working and kind of involved in topics like these. They're involved in in our research groups. They're involved in projects that we are doing, and kind of working towards one goal of learning as much as possible. So we tend to provide you a platform where you can connect with these people, these like-minded people, I'd say, who are working towards the same goal as you are. Another thing I'd say is do not I'd say see yourself as a that I don't know much about this topic or that topic. We are all learning here, so it's an opportunity for you to get involved in discussions in topic like that and learn yourself. So I'd say do not consider yourself as I'm a beginner, I might not fit in here, but we tend to give you a platform for that itself. That's the whole sole reason of doing this work, to give you and share that knowledge with all of you. So there is a lot of as I've been mentioning, there's a lot of research group, a lot of work that's been going on, there are a lot of people who are working on this. It also gives you some things apart from your academics, some things to work on apart from your academics, that can help you enhance your portfolio, that can help you build up your resume to a level that can that kind of because of course, this is a growing field. You always want to be competitive. So this gives you that knowledge and those skills that you can add in your resume and get in the market and kind of share that with the industry professionals and make a mark there. So it's all about gaining knowledge and sharing knowledge. So and we love to network. Our community loves to network. We love to share knowledge. We love to provide mentorship and all these things. So we're happy if any of those things interests you, then be a part of the club. Going ahead, success stories. So you don't have to believe what I say. You don't have to believe any of us, because there are success stories that speak for themselves. There are ebooks that have been written by Skunks. There are articles, there are Medium articles that are published very frequently by these Skunks on these topics that we have been discussing, or that we are working on. There are papers published on these topics, and there are jobs being offered to Skunks because of the work that they've been doing. Because a lot of we have a lot of testimonials. If you want, we can share it with all of you, and it's all about how Skunks, being a Skunk, helped uh, students, get into the industry, make their profile different from others, and kind of get that dream job, work towards that dream job. So these are a few success stories. We also have it on the website. If you want to check those out, feel free to do that as well. Moving ahead. So I'd also like to share our new website that went live a few weeks back. So we would be sharing a lot of QR codes in this presentation. So feel free to take out your mobile phones and scan this. So and you can check out our website. It has almost all the details that we'll be talking about in this presentation, all the major details, I'd say. So feel free to check that out and give us reviews on that. And don't worry if you missed out on that, because we'll be sharing this presentation with all of you. So don't worry about that. Another thing that I would want to share with all of you, and I'd say a very important thing that I would want to share with everyone, is that we get a lot of questions if we are offering OPT or CPT. So I want to say that clearly to everyone, that we do not offer any CPT and OPT opportunities. What I mentioned with what I meant with the jobs and what all things I've been talking about is that the work that you do helps you get those dream jobs. We do not offer you those jobs. The work that you do with the club provides you with those opportunities. But we, saying that clearly, we do not have any collaborations in regards to getting you jobs and all those things. So we do not offer any kind of OPT or CPT opportunities.
A comment on the OPT and CPT, businesses offer those. And so your work that you present will help you get those, but there's no guarantee.
Right.
So what the club is entirely about is your work speaking for you and learning by doing. And so the work that you do here has led to OPT opportunities and has led to jobs. But it's not the club. The club does not give those out. Those are given out by individual businesses.
Right, Professor. In regards to that, you can go ahead and start about the research part and the research topics that you will be heading for this semester.
My name is Nick Bear Brown. Can you hear me? It just said I was muted for a second.
Oh, yes, Professor, we can hear you clearly.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about first the philosophy of the club. It's learning by doing. You're going to learn research by doing stuff. Another thing is about the nature of what you learn. I've spoken to hundreds of companies and We have collaborations with the Broad Institute and Harvard and many places. And they all agree with this idea that primarily you have engineering skills. You can program, you can use Tableau, you can use NoSQL, you can use MongoDB, you can use AWS. Those are very, very important. But if you're going to be a data scientist, you're going to need more than that. You're going to need a little bit of research thinking because it's another skill. Learning how to think about a problem clearly so that you're not just using software that you run and it gets you some result, but you're thinking about something novel is a very important skill. It's often one that's not taught in classes. And this is why we set up Skunkworks. It's to develop this research thinking by starting to do research. And it's critical if you're going to be a data scientist. What separates you from being a tech, somebody who just keeps a AWS server running, and a data scientist, is to be able to work with novel problems. And that primary skill, once you can program and actually do stuff, is learning to think like a researcher. How do I think critically about a problem? How do I solve a problem? So can you go to the next slide? So we're going to have, we need to keep this focused because what happens every semester is we try different research themes. Some work really well, some die out. And that's okay, because we got to try. But we got to keep it somewhat focused, because if we don't keep it focused, we're going to not get anything done. So our focus in spring is explainable AI, visual analytics, observability in Kaggle. So next slide, please. So the visual analytics group, what we're doing here is we're creating what are called descriptive models. If you've ever done a predictive model like you do in an ADS class, you get some data and you make a prediction, the price of a house or whether somebody's going to buy stuff or not. A descriptive model is when you say something about the system and how it interacts with its environment. So for example, can my data actually predict houses or not? Or is data missing? Is my data biased? Do I trust the result that I got? So we're not asking for a prediction. We're asking to understand something about the system. So go to the next slide. So we're going to, a lot of this, the descriptive models end up being visual. So this is also incorporated into our visualization subgroup called the Gans project. So if you look at that little graph there, this is telling somebody about why they have the salary that they have. So it's saying this is a particular person. And what it's telling the person is, this is what we predict your salary is. It's $10,000 below what we'd expected, and this is why. The primary reasons, so it says, for example, this person has a education, so that increases their salary by $18,000. That education is in STEM, so that increases it by another $10,000. But you're only working 40 hours a week, so that decreases it. And you're working for a small company, so that decreases it. The green are the factors that are pushing it up, and the purple are the factors that are pushing it down. This is one technique that we use heavily. They're called SHAP values. But there are many techniques that we use. The idea behind the visual analytics group is to create descriptive models. And typically, it'll be done in small groups where you're focused on a particular question. Like, for example, visualizing COVID, or visualizing financial stuff, or general EDA, or something like that. So next slide. Observability. So what observability is about is to understand what's going on in your system in real time. So it's rare for a real company to do one model. Rather, they typically have lots of models. For example, an advertising company may have a model that predicts something during the weekday and another model that predicts something during the weekend, because the behavior of those models are very different. So the first thing we need to know is, well, when does my model fail? And when does it do well? It predicts it well for younger people, but not older people, or vice versa. We need to know something about our model, and we need to monitor our model and monitor the data. So we know, okay, I need to swap out my current model for this other model in real time because something's happened. And sometimes we can predict what that's going to happen, like a change between the weekend and the weekday. Other times we can't. For example, GameStop stock price has blown up in the last couple of days. Twitter stock prices went down about 10% after the riots in Washington. These are changes in the data which we have to deal with in real time. We can't really use a model which is performing poorly, but rather we have to swap out the model in real time. So there are a lot of sub projects related to this. And this monitoring tools, things that just log what's happening, and observability tools. What an observability tool does is it tells you from the monitor data, from the logs that you created, to interpret what happened, what's happening with your model. Why is the model not working? And why would another model work? Go to the next slide. Kaggle Group. So Kaggle has a bunch of ways of getting expertise. You can do competitions, you can do notebooks, you can do data sets. There's also something called discussions. You can become a discussions grandmasters. So the Kaggle Group is to encourage people to go up the Kaggle ranks. Going up the Kaggle ranks, becoming an expert, then a master, and then a grandmaster is a very, very important credential for a job if you go through the progression system. So, so it might be forming a team to enter a competition or sharing some tips about competitions. Writing notebooks is basically explaining an idea clearly. So for example, a couple people might together and write a notebook, but then get feedback from other people in the group of whether, because basically to go up the Kaggle notebook system, people have to vote for your notebook. And people tend to vote for notebooks that are well done. Same thing for data. A lot of the data on Kaggle is just data that's useful for whatever reasons. It's some Twitter data, which is formatted with some additional data, metadata about, COVID or about politics or about games or whatever. You can look at the data sets just by going to Kaggle and looking at the data sets. You'll see they also have votes. And so, so one good thing that we have that a lot of other people don't have is access to the NU Northeastern Discovery cluster. So sometimes creating a data set is really a computational problem. Like for example, collecting 5 million tweets on some subject, like COVID. That may be hard to do on your laptop, but it's fairly straightforward to do on the cluster. So you have access. And these things are very important for getting a job. If people see you're a Kaggle expert or master or particularly grandmaster, you're a Kaggle grandmaster, I think you have like a 99.999% chance of getting a great job, very high paying job. Becoming a grandmaster might take a couple years. But the point of the group is to one, support people and to help people through that process. Next slide. There's also a business school in France called AM Lyon, and they have a digital marketing program. And so they want to do some Kaggle competitions with us. Their students tend to be more visualization and not necessarily particularly strong on the programming end of it. And so this would be to work with some of their students on Kaggle competitions. EM Lyon is open to writing some sort of certificate of, or giving some title to people who help, some official recognition of it. But this is basically for outreach, it's networking. There may be people that in France that you like that if you're in India right now, or you're probably closer to Paris time zone than you are to Boston time zone. So that group might be one that's easier to coordinate. But we'll figure out what sort of certificate people get and how we evaluate that. But EM Lyon is very open to doing some sort of collaboration with us. This will primarily be a subset of the Kaggle group. Okay, go on. So who's leading explainable AI?
Yeah, so
Professor Mas.
yeah, we go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Professor. Hi, everyone. So myself, Abhishek, as I said, I'm a Vice President of Research Operation at AI Skunkworks. So I'll be leading Explainable AI Research Group for Spring. So it will be meeting a weekly Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Teams. So just to give a just what Explainable AI and how it is important. So explainable AI is everything that comes after you build a model to explain what the model is doing, whether it is doing a right prediction or not. Where you are getting a good metrics, but your output might not be right. That's when explainable AI comes in. Uh, uh, to show you, to just tell you the importance of explainable AI in current world, as I'm doing a co-op as a data scientist, today I was having a discussion with a couple of business people and senior data scientists. They were referring me that 10 out of 8 models don't go into production. I was asking him, what is the reason? Are we not doing well in solving the issue, or what is the reason? We have good metrics, we have everything. Still, the business people are not convinced to trust these models to do what they want and give them what they want. That trust can be built by explaining the model to the people, like people who don't understand technical stuff, explaining them what the model is doing. There are some techniques which I've been working from past 9 months. Actually, last year in January, when I was introduced to this by professor, by from then till now, I've been working in explainable AI. So, the majorly this concentration will be on explaining the model. Uh, in this part, there are some part of DevOps which will be working. Reason is you build a model, but you don't know how to deploy it, how to connect different APIs to this. The reason why we are concentrating on this also is when you go into some kind of a job interview or a co-op interview, what they will be asking is whether you'll be able to write Python scripts. Will you be able to deploy a model? Will you be able to handle issues while deploying a model? Reason is no one works with a Jupyter notebook in the production environment. They want Python scripts. They want your model to be deployed and do some kind of a DevOps, which has now been, there is a buzzword called MLOps, where ML and DevOps comes together, and they've coined a new word called MLOps, where people need to know some part of DevOps and machine learning. So that will be the concentration of this explainable AI. Next. So you have heard from the professor and me, there are different research groups. But if you have your own idea, you want to start something which you are interested in, we have a particular way of presenting it to the team. So basically, you'll be reaching out to me with your requirement, saying that I am interested in a particular field, probably reinforcement learning, and these are my prerequisites. This is what I want to work with. So you can come up with that idea and propose it to the team. We will deliberate it after professors and the team's approval. You'll be getting a chance to start your own research group. And coming to the projects, you might be working on a particular project of your interest, and you might need to collaborate with other people to make that project into a next higher level or deploy it with the help of some software people, from front end people or UX designers. So that's when you can propose that project, and we will provide you platform where you can connect with other students to work with them. Next. So yeah, now I know you might be excited. There is a lot of opportunity. I want to join any research group. How to join it? So next. So the most important thing to join is you have to register yourself in Engage link, which is NU Campus Labs, where Northeastern has registered our club. So if you can use your phones to scan this, it will directly take you to NU Campus Labs, where you can register yourself. Make sure you create your account, then register. Otherwise, it will come to us as a new user. We'll not be getting any of your details. So we'll not be able to contact you also and give you updates of the new projects, new research. So you have to create your account, then register yourself. Next. So to join any research group. So we none of the research group has any prerequisite or any kind of a thing to join it. You can join, but some of the research topics requires prior knowledge. You can't research over reinforcement learning without knowing what is reinforcement learning. So these kind of topics, if you pick up, professor and me and research coordinators will be there to point you in a right direction to first learn those topics and then come and research. You can use your phone. It's a QR code. You'll get a form where you can fill the form and join the research group of your interest.
A comment on the research groups. They're run like a lab meeting would be. So we meet once a week and people present what they've been working on. It's okay just to join them and just initially just see what other people have been working on. The more advanced people are likely to be the ones presenting to begin with. The research coordinators will be the ones scheduling who's going to present on what days. But basically, it's not like a lecture. We don't explain to you what is explainable AI. We will put up a lot of links, and we should put these links on the GitHub and the website. Good links, like for example, Abhishek and Kartik wrote a book on model interpretability using Git books. And that I also think got them people contacting them about various opportunities. So we'll send you links to where you can learn about, reinforcement learning, model observability, model interpretability. But the nature of the research group is people present, and then they give feedback, and then do it again, and then do it again and again. So it requires a lot of independence. You're basically doing research and then getting feedback from the group. That said, it's okay just to sort of join and see what people are doing, because eventually you'll learn just by looking at what other people are doing as well. But it's very much for people who are self-motivated. There's not a lot of, here's an assignment, do this kind of stuff.
Right. There was a question about can we join multiple research groups? See, you are allowed to join multiple research groups, but I would not suggest that. You can try out saying that I don't know, I will try out for a couple of weeks. That's fine. But why I suggest against that is it takes a lot of your time because you have your classes. Some people might be on co-op, some people might be searching co-op, some people might be trying for your full time. So it's difficult to be in multiple places and concentrate on multiple things. For example, visual analytics is completely something else, and working on Kaggle computation is completely something else. But if it is similar, then yes, you can join them and it might help you. Uh, but I would not suggest to join multiple research groups. If you are on a co-op, yes, you can join the research group. There is no problem in that. Until unless you are a student, you can join as a student. Once you graduate, you can join as a alumni and contribute.
Yeah, just a
And
second. Abhishek just said, focus is more important. It's more important to have, for example, a Medium article written than just to attend a bunch of groups and to have nothing to show for it. So if your objective is just to, excuse me, write a Medium article on something, like what is model observability, that's much better than going to a bunch of groups and producing nothing at the end. So in order to get a job and to convince people that they should hire you, they need to see tangible evidence, tangible results. So you're much better off focused on something and get something done rather than to try everything and to get nothing done.
Right, that's very important. See, whenever you try to find a job, right, put yourself in the shoes of recruiter and think he will recruit someone who's extraordinary, right? You'll not look for someone who's ordinary. So to become that ordinary to extraordinary, that what extra part is there, right? That is where you have to put in extra effort, extra time. But if it is focused on one point, you'll come up with something where you can put that extra effort and make that ordinary into extraordinary. And you have something tangible to show to the people. If you go and say, I have done explainable AI, I have done reinforcement learning, without any proof, no one will agree, yes, you know, on something. If you have a Medium article, as Professor said, or the Git book as me and Karthik had written, it will help you a lot. Today, I got my co-op. I can easily say it was because of my effort on that book and professor's guidance. I was able to get the co-op. My recruiter tells me that because you did something in explainable AI, you stood out from rest of the people. I'm not saying just about explainable AI. It's like anything. You do something more that makes you ordinary to extraordinary. Having said that, let's move to next one. This is a project which have been working on with Discovery. Discovery will be explained by Shruti later, and sometime it's a cluster from Northeastern. So that research team and we are working on a research for benchmarking DalfaPy. DalfaPy is a data analytics library from Intel. It is said that it is very fast, scalable, and easy, and has a better performance. They claim that they work very faster even compared to GPU. So that's where I was working on benchmarking it, but the project is getting bigger and bigger. We need more people to contribute to it. So this is a QR code. If you are interested in this project, please fill the application form. See, this is a little competitive thing. Not everyone might get selected based on the need of the research and how much you're good at writing Python script and other stuff. We might select you, but it's a very good opportunity to publish a paper. And we have a HPC conference. When I say HPC, it's High Performance Computing Conference. Since it's a high performance data library, we will be presenting this paper in the high performance conference probably in April or May. So do look out for this. It has a lot of things to offer. If you have any questions to DalfaPy and this research, you can approach me. Next slide. Yeah, from here, Shruti will continue.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek. In the start, like Abhishek mentioned, that we connect you with the different people from the industry. So, to give you an example, in the last semester, we had people from Red Hat. So, just to mention that we are in collaboration with Red Hat, where we provide the certifications at a very minimal price. So we asked the associates from them to come to AI Skunkworks and demonstrate or give a hands-on experience on some of the Red Hat tools to the members of our club. And we also had speakers from Kineso as well as Data Robot. So you can see all the speaker series videos on our YouTube channel. And we also conduct weekly workshops on some of the data science topic. So if there is any particular topic you are interested in, you can always reach out to us and let us know, and we will surely try from our end that to have a workshop on that topic. So the next is compute resource discovery. So like Abhishek also mentioned, discovery is high performance compute resource, which is especially available to the Northeastern student. So this resource is currently it is shared by the 5 universities which are mentioned below, like Northeastern, BU, Harvard, MIT, and UMass. So, whenever you have a large amount of data or any data science project that is you cannot do on your local machine, you can always reach out to us and we can help you get in connect with the resource computing team of Northeastern and help you speed up the process of setting up your own directory or helping you get the multi GPU nodes and to do as much as from our end to get you started quickly on any high compute project that you are working on. Yeah, and so like I mentioned, this resource is currently shared by the 5 universities. So to have a node, especially for the AI Skunkworks Club, we are currently actively working to get donations for this particular initiative, and our AI Skunkworks. This initiative is currently active on Husky Starters platform. So if you would like to donate any amount, you can just scan this QR code and make a donation there. And no amount is small, even a $5 amount could be as much helpful as like any other amount. So just feel free to give any amount that you feel. Yeah, and this is the end of the presentation. So if you have any questions, please write them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask here.
Thanks. Thanks, Shruti. Yeah, so on that note, I'd like to just add a few points. So there was a very good question. It was on the chat box. So AI Skunkworks is open to all graduate and undergraduate students. So in last semester, a lot of undergraduate students showed interest in the club, which is how we started, having these basic Python EDA workshops for them. So if as I mentioned in the beginning as well, if you're a beginner, if you're an undergraduate student, a graduate student, anyone who just shares that kind of vision or that kind of interest in working towards learning more and kind of sharing the knowledge, feel free to join us, reach out to us, and kind of know more if you just want to understand more, if you have questions, anything. So we're open to all that. So yeah, if there's
Abhishek, let's
nothing,
take question.
yeah. So we are open to questions if you have anything.
I will read out the chat. If it is directed to me, I will go on, or you can take. Okay.
Yep, yep, yep.
Can
Actually,
someone?
let me answer the first couple. So
Sure.
projects with the Broad, Harvard, Canosso, MGS, etc. The way it works is that people need to prove themselves first within Skunkworks. So you do not get recommended to Harvard, you do not get recommended to the Broad, you do not get recommended to Canosso or anybody external until you show internally through the work that you do within Skunkworks that you are serious, you do good work. So this is a two-step process. So you'll stand out in the kinds of stuff you do in the research you do within Skunkworks. And then what I do is I show people literally what you do. I show somebody, for example, I showed Squark Abhishek's book, his interpretability book. And because of that, they offered him what they call a programmer analyst role. I showed other people work, and that got them stuff with Canoso, got them stuff with the Bro, but it's a two-step process. The reason why they do not want 500 emails. They want people that we've already vetted that are good. And the way you show that is by what you do within the group. The second question, is there research related to Gans? Yes. Part of the observability group is data augmentation. So we work with transformers, we work with Gans in order to replicate text data, like from Excel file, to replicate image data, sound data. And if you're going to work with Harvard CRL, it would also be DICOM brain scan data. But to do that, you have to get good with the discovery cluster. You're not going to be able to run GANs and transformers on your laptop. So go ahead. I just wanted to comment on those two.
Thanks, Professor. So there is a question, can someone join if they are in some other research group? If it was for PyDAL project about benchmarking, yes, you can, but DALFA-Py project, which I mentioned, it requires time commitment weekly. If you are able to manage that, you can join. Then Abhishek, there is a question asking what is the average time invested by Skunks every week on research?
So for every research group, there'll be a specific team that will be, kind of having a meeting. Usually, it's an hourly meeting every week or bi-weekly meeting. So kind of the plan that's discussed in the first few meetings is how it's going to go ahead. So majorly, if you are just here to kind of learn initially, it's an hour meeting every week. And apart from that, you can put in as many hours as you want, learning those topics. But on part of Skunkworks, we'll be having like an hourly meeting every week for most of the clubs. It would vary as in when the clubs get started.
But if you're going to actually be involved in doing something, I would bump that up to 5 to 10 hours a week. For example, if you're going to do a Kaggle competition, you're not going to be able to do that in an hour and a week.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Okay,
Is there any
so
project going on in AI finance sector? Currently, the projects are none, but there are research groups which might work in finance also. It's like finance is not something different from data science. It's a part.
There's something related in advertising now. So we work with a company called Canoso, which is a $9 billion advertising company. So there are a lot of issues which are very similar. So for example, with stocks, you have all the stock information and you're trying to predict what stocks to invest in. Advertising is very analogous. You have a lot of advertising channels and you're trying to say, what advertising channels should I invest in order to get the best return? So the mathematics, the optimization mathematics around modern day advertising and modern day finance have a lot of overlap.
Right. Can you tell me more about the AlphaPy project? So the AlphaPy is an Intel Python library. So the project, what it does is Intel has an opinion that whatever you run on the AlphaPy will run faster compared to other traditional libraries called scikit-learn or other deep learning modules which you will run on GPU. They claim that the AlphaPy will make it run faster on CPU. So that is the project where you will be benchmarking the scikit-learn library and the AlphaPy library on different sizes of data set, and you'll be comparing how the performance will be. Then can you explain the difference between research and
right.
project?
So see, Skunkworks has these two main pillars: research groups and the projects. So research groups, as we just shared, explainable AI, visualization, and Kaggle groups. So these are research groups. How these will go through is they'll have like weekly or bi-weekly meetings, coordinated by Professor and Abhi. They will be briefing you about like what all will be going on throughout, the whole semester, in that in like when you join the first meeting of that particular group. Another part is the projects. So projects are a little bit open ended. So projects are more of what projects Skunkworks does is in collaboration with companies, institutes. So like these institutes reach out to a club, they reach out to professor in regards to like, we are working on this particular project, we need someone to help us with that. So that's how, skunks get involved in projects and kind of try to work that out. Apart from that, both of these things, we are open to all of you. If you like, all of you have been adding a lot of suggestions here. If you are actually interested in something that we are not doing currently, feel free to reach out to us, because as Abhi mentioned, there is a form that we'll be sharing. It's on the website, um, as well as on our GitHub, and you can kind of try and brainstorm the idea. Professor will help you, our team will help you build up on that project or that research group, and we can work on that. So does that answer the question?
The next one is, from when our research group meetings will start? How could one be part of it after filling the form? Does it involve presentation of one's work? So group meetings will start from 1st of Feb. As far as explainable AI is concerned, we have it on Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Other group meetings date will be decided by the end of this week, and we will be sending out a mail
Right.
saying at what time these groups will be meeting. And yes, you once you involve in this group, you do some work, you need to present it in front of the group so that you get a peer review, and professor will be there to give you review and tell you like what are the pitfalls and which direction you should focus on.
So just to be clear on that, the research coordinators need to reach out and make sure somebody has something to present on. So the main focus of the research coordinator is to reach out and say, can you present this week? Can you present this week? Can you present this week, et cetera? And how much time do you need? They'll initially reach out to the people who've already been doing this for a while, who already have something going. You can choose just to observe the meetings the entire semester and not present. But the research coordinator will reach out and say, who's speaking this week? If nobody's speaking this week, then the week will be, that'll be canceled for that week, and they'll pick it up the next week. If nobody's presenting for several weeks, then there's no point in doing the group. That's a group that'll die out because there's not enough interest in the group. So the focus of the research coordinators is to make sure there are a couple speakers for each meeting, because it'll typically be about a half an hour per speaker. And then, different speakers. If you're doing research and you particularly want feedback, then you talk to the research coordinator. Say, I'd really like to present because I'd like feedback on my research. And so that's basically the way it works. If nobody can present anything, then there's no point in meeting. We're not going to have meetings where nobody's presenting. So the research coordinators will reach out before a meeting. They'll know who's speaking. And then they'll typically do 2 presentations per hour, half an hour for one and half an hour for another, unless somebody has something very long and they want the whole hour. And then it'll just keep on going like that. As for the question of which ones deal with advertising, they're about the topic. So for example, we're going to do ML observability related to advertising, as well as related to computational biology. We're also going to do visual analytics related to advertising and related to computational biology, or any other topic that you want. There's a lot of overlap. So for example, if I develop a Gans that generates image data, Well, I can use that for brain scans, but I can also use that to generate pictures of Olympic swimmers, if that's what or shoes or cars or whatever industry it is. So the techniques, so the focus isn't so much on the industry as it is on the topic. But if you're particularly interested in finance, you can generate, for example, fake stock data using a GAN. And that will be your individual research. Does that make sense?
Professor, this question, in machine learning, collecting correct data is important. Does any group discuss about it and the fastest way to collect data?
So most of the focus of this semester is on data. So we've heard the garbage in, garbage out. And so it's not so much about building models, because a lot of you, particularly if you take my classes, you learn how to build a model and use tools like AutoML. Both of the groups, the observability group and the visual analytics group, are about understanding our data, as well as the interpretability group, right? All of these groups are about understanding data. That's all of these groups this semester in spring are around this idea: if our data is garbage, then there's no point doing the next step in building a model. We need to correct the data. Our data might have bias in it. Our data may be incomplete. Our data might not be able to predict what we're trying to predict. And so we want to deal with all those issues algorithmically. We may not trust our data. Go back to the interpretability, the explainability. So pretty much everything except for the Kaggle is around really focused on data. If we don't have good data, we can't build good models. It's as simple as that. So we need to deal with the data systematically and algorithmically. So every group deals with collecting the correct data. It just depends on what focus you want. You want to take more of a DevOps thing, or do you want to take more of a visual thing, a models approach to it?
For Kaggle competition, do we compete individually or compete for AIs? Compete for AI Skunkworks as it represents a single group.
So there's no, let's say, I don't know, let's say there are 40 people in the group. There's no Kaggle competitions which allow you to compete as a group of 40. Every Kaggle competition allows you to compete as an individual. Most have a limit of maybe 3 to 5 people in a group. And it's fairly typical for them to allow a small team. There's some Kaggle competitions which force you to compete individually. Most Kaggle competitions are okay with a team of up to around 5. The rarer competitions might allow you to do larger teams. I don't think there's any competition that allows you to do a team of, let's say, 100. Further, a team of 100 is not productive. It's hard to coordinate such a large team. So more typically, you're going to create a small group, let's say 5 people. And part of the idea of the group is to find people who you might compete with. I think maybe it was Abhishek who posted a Kaggle competition on the Teams today, I think it was, related to something or other. I think it was image data, cardiovascular something, on the Teams chat. But what you do is you would find somebody would say, I really want to do this competition, and I'm looking for a couple people to work with me. And then you'd find a couple people that might end up being separate. And that's fine. You're two groups of 3. And then you discuss, okay, what do I need to do? Well, I would argue you better do a data augmentation. But sometimes the competitions don't allow you to do data augmentation, or they have a computational limit. They only allow you to use so much CPU time. And so the idea is for you to get together to sketch out a strategy, get feedback on that strategy, and then to try to compete. The other thing is not just competitions, it's also notebooks and data sets. You can become a notebooks grandmaster and a data sets grandmaster. So this is fairly straightforward. If you create a notebook, that's very useful. people are going to vote up. If it's clearly written, if it has clearly written code, if it's well done, people are going to vote for it. So you get that feedback. You get the feedback, is it understandable? Same thing for data sets. Data sets would be, okay, I want to create this data set. What do you think? Does it have enough data? That also can work with the operability and the visual analytics stuff, because that's all about data. Not only do you want to give people data, you want to give people metadata, information about that data. Don't just want to dump a bunch of text on Kaggle and say, vote for me. You want to give them a data set which is actually usable. So that includes sample data sets, subsets of the data, information about the data, how to search the data, etc.
Sounds good. Uh, yeah, are there any other questions that we have for today?
I think that's it, Abhishek. Just
Sounds
to
good.
add on to this, guys, after the meeting, we will be sending you the mail with the form link and all the stuff and recording. So no need to worry where to find the links and all this stuff. And there is no hurry that you have to fill it today. Take your time, decide, and do it by the weekend so that you can be present at the start of the meeting. The research coordinators will be reaching out to you once you have filled the form with the team links and time and date. If you have any questions to anything, you can just ping Abhishek or me on the teams. Will be available to answer.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. On that note, we are a little over time. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And it was great to connect with every one of you. We'll be, as Abhi said, we'll be sharing all the details. So don't worry about that. And yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.